Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Lorraine Garcia, Communication Specialist here at Coachella Valley Water District, and I'm happy to welcome you to our When in Drought webinar. If you have any questions during the presentation, please use the Q&A panel that should be found at the bottom of your screen. There's an icon that says Q&A. If you are on an iPad, it may be on the top right-hand corner of the screen. So now let's learn about our speaker. Jason Lucas is the lead water management specialist at Coachella Valley Water District and has been with CVWD for 15 years. He studied landscape irrigation and horticulture at College of the Desert and University of California, Riverside. He has a bachelor's degree in business management with a focus in sustainability from the University of Phoenix and a master's degree in project management from Colorado State University. He also holds a water use efficiency practitioner certification with American Water Works Association, a golf course management certification through Ohio State University, and a management analytics certification through MIT Sloan School of Management. Please welcome Jason Lucas.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us today for this presentation, When in Drought. Like Lorraine said, my name is Jason Lucas. I'm the lead water management specialist here at Coachella Valley Water District. And we'll be talking about the drought here going forward. So I want to thank you all again for joining us on this for this presentation. I know it's lunchtime, so we'll get going. All right, so I wanted to start off talking about the drought, and I wanted to bring up this infographic or this graphic here. It's a hydrological cycle, and this kind of was interesting to me because this is kind of how we keep getting into this drought cycle. We start off in a stage of apathy where we're complacent, we're good, everything is good, then we start seeing signs of the drought. Then moves into started to be more aware of stuff, and then also goes into being concerned, panic, and then we get rain and it all goes away. So, and then we get back into this cycle again. Now, the thing that's interesting here is it kind of goes along with what's been going on in the current events leading up to the drought. And now that we're in this emergency drought declaration, we need to be more mindful about what we can do to get out of it. So we'll keep going. So a little bit of drought background here. Governor Newsom made several declarations, and looking at this slide here, the first thing was in April of 2021, he declared the drought proclamation for 2 counties, Mendocino and Sonoma counties. And this is where we get into that drought stage or phase in that hydrological cycle. So we're in that drought stage at this point. Then we move on and go on to the following month in May, and we jump into the awareness factor of it, where we add 39 more counties into that drought proclamation. So if you're following the hydrological cycle, we're kind of getting, falling right in line to that graphic. So now we're more aware of it, and we're getting people into it. Come July, now we're going and we had 9 additional counties. Riverside County not being included in that, but we're showing concern. So with that 9 additional counties, we're moving over to, Newsom has asked us for a 15% voluntary reduction all across all sectors. So this is where the concern part comes in. So now we're concerned, we're looking at our water supply levels and trying to figure out what we need to do from there. So we keep adding and adding, and the trend is going towards where we're at now. And that's, as of recently, October 19th, Governor Newsom declared a statewide drought emergency. And now that's the panic phase in the hydrological cycle there. He included the remaining 8 counties, including Riverside and Imperial, in which we service here in the Coachella Valley. And so this is where we're getting into that panic mode in the cycle. Not so much as a panic. We're talking about panic statewide, and we need to do our part in getting out of this drought situation we're in. So coming back to this graphic that we're in. So the funny thing, there's a funny story that I remember. I remember doing a presentation, and I was presenting in front of an audience, and I asked everybody, to raise their hand as high as they can go. And everybody raised their hand as high as they can go. And shortly after that, I asked them to raise it a little higher, and all across the room, everybody's reaching up a little higher. So that's what we're trying to do here is we're trying to look at that, because the difference between where we think our limits are and where they actually are is called the edge. So we're trying to get it to that edge, and I think that's what Governor Newsom is putting forth here with his drought declaration, is to see how we can get to that point of what we can do as customers and the community. And that's where that panic part or that concern part came in with the 15%. He was asking everybody, hey, raise up your hand as high as it can go. And then, in doing so, it still wasn't working. Now we're asking, hey, let's go a little higher. So that's the aspect of where we're trying to go, and try to see where, if we can get to that edge where we can break this hydrological cycle so that we don't fall into the drought awareness concern panic again. And I see the rain there, and I know probably there's some of you wondering, hey, what about that rain atmospheric river that just passed through the state? How is that, does that affect anything? And to be honest, it's not really much of a drought buster, although it was 7.6 billion gallons of water. Not so much of a drought buster, but in the silver linings of things, it did help with the fires across the state. So that was good. That came from that. Moving forward now, this is how the state looks as far as the drought map is concerned. We have we're pretty much in a severe to moderate drought, but being as the Coachella Valley is a desert, we're in a way in a perpetual drought. So we always have to be mindful and aware of our water supplies here, and we've been doing so since before the 2015 drought. We've been covering a lot of this stuff and being proactive and a lot of this stuff. That's been our message, for well over a decade. The message was, not because things have to be regulated or there's certain regulations or certain drought proclamations or anything like that have gone on. We're doing it because it was the right thing to do for our community and for our water supply to remain sustainable. And I think that's the focus that we've been trying to cover and get across is, hey, it's important, especially living in the desert. We need to be more mindful of our water supplies and see how everything goes on that part. The conservation programs and rebates, we've been doing those since the early 2000s, and they've been ramping up all throughout that time. We've been adding more programs and rebates to our menu, so to speak, and they've been fairly popular and well received. The landscape ordinance has been in place since before 2008, and this is to cover new developments coming into the valley or being developed in the valley. The ordinance have been stricter than state's ordinance, so that way we know and we're ensuring that any new development has an efficient landscape being installed and implemented into their property or in their development. So I want to briefly touch on the imported water conditions. So where we get water from the State Water Project and the Colorado River Water. CVWD participates in the Colorado River Basin States Technical Group, and we work closely and monitor and address those issues as they come. The Drought Contingency Plan it was approved in 2018, and that's been working. CVWD board reviews when and how to implement the measures as appropriate, and that's based on the State Water Project allocations and the Colorado River conditions as well. So I think a lot of the things that we've done here at the Coachella Valley Water District and the community in the valley has been, I guess, in a movement to get to keeping a sustainable water level, or our sustainable water levels up. So we go through a bunch of things. We put forth a lot of effort into these, the groundwater recharge, recycled and canal water for large landscapes. We promote conservation by water budget-based tiered rates, conservation programs. We do water waste response, and we have regional and local planning. And I'll go into depth on a little more of those as we go forward. Moving forward, the groundwater recharge is an effort that we do to put back what we're taking out in a sense. So in the last, I'd say, decade or so, we've noticed levels rise to about 13 feet, I believe. And since 2005, they've been trending in a positive way. And so we also use the recycled and canal water for large landscapes to get to supplement some of that water, so that we're not we're kind of taking a easing off on the aquifer. So we also do. We promote conservation, and that's using, a lot of our efforts are using with the water budget-based tiered rates and our conservation programs. So these are big things that our customers benefit greatly from, and our community benefits greatly from, is the water budget-based tiered rates and the conservation programs. Taking advantage of these and knowing and understanding these helps greatly in customers reducing their water bill and conserving more water and being more efficient. I know that there's kind of a distinction between conservation and efficiency. So when we talk about conservation, we're talking about immediate impacts to be conserved, to conserve water. When we talk about efficiency, we're talking about the behavior now and how we can remain and sustain this conservation effort. And so I think they get, I guess, tangled in together, but they're kind of one in its own, and one's more immediate and one's more for the long run. So when we talk about water budget-based tiered rates, each customer, this is a big effort in our customer, in how our customers and how we save and reduce water. So having a personalized budget for each customer based on indoor water use and landscape and outdoor water use, customers are better. Have the ability to better manage their water use throughout the month. So we give them a water budget, either the previous or the water budget that they have now, and then their next water budget, their coming water budget. And so that helps in scheduling and understanding, hey, where's my water going? How much water allocation do I have to stay within my budget? So this is a great tool that we have, and it's a great effort that we use to stay with the water conservation stuff. And those factors come in with an indoor water budget, and then the outdoor water budget is based on a couple of components, and that being historical weather data, which is how we can gauge what next month's water budget will be, and also landscape area square footage. So those things go into the formula of the budget. If you like more information on how that budget is calculated, you can always visit our website at cvwd.org and get more information and kind of see how everything is broken down for yourselves in that sense. So we also have rebates and programs that are a huge factor in what we're trying to do along conservation and being more efficient. To begin with, we start in the indoors. So indoors, everything is fairly efficient. You know, most of the stuff coming out now, technology has created better efficiency in a lot of the devices and products that we use. Starting with a toilet. So any customer of CVWD can apply for our toilet rebate program. We give $100 per toilet that you replace that's water efficient. So that's 1.28 or better. And 1.28 is what everybody sells now. So all the manufacturers out in California, they don't sell anything above a 1.28. So when you go out shopping for a new toilet, you'll be able to find a water efficient toilet. So we give $100 back for that. We do have something that we put in place just to kind of carry on with the environmental aspect and the sustainability aspect. We do ask all of our customers participating in the program that they do recycle it at Desert Recycling. And what Desert Recycling will do is they'll take the old toilet and they'll charge $10, and you'll get a receipt for that. You bring that back, and then we give you the rebate, and we rebate that $10 as well. So what Desert Recycling does is they'll take that old toilet and they'll crush it and grind it, and they'll use it for road base. So it's repurposed. So that's another good thing moving on with the environmental aspect of it. I'm not sure if there's too many recycling centers that do that. I know Desert Recycling Center is one of them, and that's why we require that in our program. Commercial water booms, those are for commercial properties, businesses that need them for health and safety concerns. Commercial pre-rinse nozzles for kitchens and such. And we have the high efficiency washing machine rebate. We give $150 rebate back for that. And most of the washing machines, or any washing machine that's eligible, and most of the Energy Star efficient or Energy Star certified washing machines are eligible for our program. The residential hot water recirculating pump is another rebate program that we have, and that, if you want your water hot immediately, you can always install one of those in there, and we do offer a rebate for that. The conservation kits, those are great. You can see the picture right there on the slide, and it comes with a shower head, a toilet bladder for your toilet if you don't have a 1.28 or efficient toilet and you're kind of waiting to get to replace it. You can get that toilet bladder, fill it up with water, put it in the tank, and that reduces the amount of water it uses to flush. And there's a couple aerators in there as well that you can change out your faucets, get better efficiency indoors. Moving on the outdoors now, the desert landscape rebate. That's a very popular one that we offer. It's $2 per square foot up to 10,000 square feet for residential, and $2 per square foot up to 25,000 square feet for commercial. Now, if your commercial property has more than 25,000 square feet, you're more than welcome to do multiple projects in that, or multiple phases. So you can do up to 25,000 on one phase, and then the second phase you could do another 25,000, so on and so forth, to maximize the rebate there. The smart controller installation is another program that I'd like to emphasize more. When we go out there, we actually go out there and install the smart controller. And the thing I like about this program is that when we go out there, we also do what we call a conservation review. So we'll go and we'll walk with the customer as we install the controller. We'll walk with the customer, run their irrigation system, point out areas where they can improve and maybe get better at in their landscape efficiency, and we'll also install the controller and do a rough scheduling of the controller and explain why and how we schedule it based on the different emitters and so forth in the landscape. Because a lot of people think that it's all one size fits all, and it's not when it comes to irrigation and landscape. There's fine tuning that's involved in that. So we do a pretty good rough scheduling of it when we go out there and install the smart controller. And that is a weather-based irrigation controller. So what I mean by weather-based irrigation controller is it'll start fluctuating with how the weather is fluctuating. So for instance, we set it for 10 minutes to run 10 minutes a day in the summertime, and that's a dead of heat summer. As it gets colder and cooler, it'll start reducing the amount of run times on there. So it'll go from 10 minutes to maybe 3 minutes in the winter or so. So that's how the smart controller works. We also work with the customer on these because, a smart controller is only going to be as smart as the user. So we like to work with the customers and show them how it works and give them the dynamics of that science of how it works. Another thing is our sprinkler head replacement rebate. So we get $4 per nozzle that you replace. And we're talking about the rotary head nozzles that throw out fingers of water. Those ones are more efficient. They cut through the wind better, and they have less misting and put out a better application to the irrigation. You do run those a little longer, but they do apply a better application for it. The irrigation upgrade rebate, that's for commercial customers. A lot of times we'll go to a HOA or a commercial customer's property, and we'll see that they have shrub areas being irrigated with spray heads. And so that's an antiquated way of irrigating. A lot of past practice has been that way, just because it will be able to spray, large areas. The problem with that is that you're not just spraying the plants, you're spraying everything. So you might get some weed seedlings that might get irrigated, and then you get more weeds and more maintenance on something that you may not need as much maintenance on. So it causes a little bit more problems than not with the spray head. So any commercial customer that has spray heads in shrub areas, we would definitely recommend for them to do the irrigation upgrade rebate. And as I mentioned, we go out to large landscapes, commercial customers, HOAs and stuff, and we do on-site technical assistance. So we'll go out there and do what we call a simplified audit, where we do a surface view audit of the landscape property, and in doing so, we'll recommend and suggest any rebates or programs that the customer may benefit from in that instance. We also provide landscape workshops. I know the citrus workshop is one of the more popular ones, but we also do many more workshops that customers can tune into and join and attend. And also, like I said earlier, we have the landscape ordinance. for any new developments coming in. They have to follow a strict water efficient landscape ordinance that we have. And that's, as I mentioned, it is more strict than the state's landscape ordinance. And that's just to make sure that any new developments have an efficient landscape. So we also are increasing our water waste response. So we'll be doing our water waste patrols more often now. And on this, we're looking for excessive irrigation runoff, broken sprinkler heads, and washing down hardscapes, and washing your vehicle or windows without a shutoff nozzle on the hose. So as I mentioned, we'll be doing more increased water waste patrols. If you are in non-compliance, you may receive a citation letter in the mail. And that's really just it may come off as I guess not inviting, I guess, but don't take it in such light. I would say, take it in a sense that we're trying to help more than anything. And our water waste patrol personnel out there, be easy with them. I mean, we're there to help, so, we're not there to kind of harp on you and be in your face, but we're there to help. And in a sense of help, I mean, some of these things, they may go unnoticed. And I'll speak on some of those things later on in the presentation, like broken sprinkler heads. These can increase your water bill, and you may not even know it. So when we're out there patrolling and stuff, work with us, and we'll definitely be working with you and trying to help and resolve the situations as it arrives, because we are there to help, and we are part of the community, and we want to be on that same level, same page as our customers, and trying to get promote conservation. So moving forward, a big part of our efforts that we believe has kept our water levels stable throughout the years is our regional and local planning. We have the Coachella Valley Water Management Plan, the Urban Water Management Plan, the Coachella Valley Integrated Regional Water Management Plan, which I mentioned. CV Water Counts is part of that. All 6 agencies are involved in that, which has been really great, because at CV Water Counts, giving a shout out there, because together, collectively, we've saved over 60 billion gallons of water, and that's a huge accomplishment. I just want to give kudos to the CV Water Counts group for that, and for their efforts in achieving that. We have the Agricultural Water Conservation Plan, the Water Shortage Contingency Plan, which we are currently in stage 1, and we are prepared to go into stage 2 if need be. So our drought response, CVWD has taken a proactive approach to things. We've increased, when we were in that concern mode in the hydrological cycle, we started taking a more proactive approach. So we kind of seen things coming down the line, in a sense. So we increased media advertising and conservation focused messaging, so we can get on top of it. We're working with new and creative solutions, to focus on the voluntary conservation efforts, and pointed everybody as much as we could to the available programs and rebates that we offer. Also working with CV Water Counts, that's our regional water conservation group. As I mentioned, accomplished a lot of things through them, and as I mentioned again, our water shortage contingency plan, we are in stage 1, and we're prepared to go into stage 2 as needed. we've also increased our water patrols and our message on water efficiency. So throughout the drought here, we've been pushing for, that increased messaging for efficiency, to be more efficient, and kind of getting our community more up to date with what we should do and what we should be more mindful of doing. So now brings me to how our community can help and how our customers can help. As I mentioned, we have a bunch of rebate programs to go to look into and see if any of those may fall in line with what you may need at your property, and if it'll be beneficial to you. Another thing is to check your irrigation systems, as needed, maybe once a month or so. Kind of just keep an eye on it and make sure you don't have any, things out of the ordinary. And then also report water waste. And I'll go more into depth into checking the irrigation systems. So with your irrigation systems, the first thing that I would do is check your irrigation schedule. A lot of times we'll have customers call in saying, hey, I got this extraordinary bill coming to me, and I got a high bill. I don't know what to do. Nothing's changed. Nothing's going on, or whatnot. And we'll look at the bill and we'll see a consistent increase in your water bill, like you have. But when we look at it, we can see a consistency there. So perhaps maybe looking at the irrigation schedule can show you that, hey, this is happening consistently. So what happens consistently on our property? And most of the time it's going to be your irrigation system. Your irrigation system goes on like clockwork whenever it's controlled, whenever it's set up to come on, it'll come on. And it comes on throughout the month, every day, as it's scheduled. So take a look at your irrigation schedule. And what I mean by that is look at the start times. Well, check the time on the clock first of all, because sometimes that could be wrong and it could skew your irrigation schedule in that sense. So I would check your irrigation clock to make sure the right time is on. Look at your start times. Make sure that you have the appropriate start times for the time of year. Rule of thumb for the start times in that, I would say twice a day is enough to go. And I would do maybe once in the morning and once in the evening. And what I like to do, my rule of thumb, is to put it at times where you're going to be up and about and noticing what's going on with your irrigation, your landscape. And so I would put it on at right before I go to work. So as I'm leaving my house, I can see my irrigation system going on, and I can notice if there's any geysers or whatnot going out. Or if you like to have coffee in the morning on the patio, that at that time, read your paper in the morning, stuff like that. Have the irrigation go on at that time. That way, as you're reading your morning paper, having your cup of coffee, you can kind of notice your irrigation going on, and at that time you'll notice if there's any geysers or broken heads that you may not have been aware of. So I would set your schedules for those times of the day, or recommend that you do that, or suggest it. Check for broken emitters, and again, if you're up and about when your irrigation system is going, you'll be more open to seeing if you have any issues like broken emitters in your landscape. And a lot of these things are contributors to a high water bill. So you want to look at these as well as check the valves. So in doing so, do a test run of your irrigation system. See if everything is running appropriately and properly, and then you can better be on top of it, and you most likely won't see any surprises in your water bill in that sense, or receive a citation notice from us for your water waste on a broken head or whatnot. So these are the things that I was talking about. Check your irrigation schedule on your irrigation clock, to avoid excessive irrigation runoff. You see the picture there on the right. The heads are moved in about a foot. That just helps keep the water on the property and to the plants. Doing that, you're not irrigating the street or the sidewalk. You're irrigating what needs to be irrigated, and avoiding excessive irrigation runoff and overspray. These are the things that we're looking at as far as water waste goes. We're looking at things that we can control. Broken sprinkler heads, we can control that. We can fix that. We can repair that. The overspray and stuff, we can move the heads in and not get that overspray or not get that water onto the sidewalk or the street, causing water damage to those areas. And that water is staying in our plant areas where the plants can actually utilize it. Because once that water leaves, and it evaporates, there's no telling when we're going to get that water back. At that point, check your valves. Make sure that your valves are operating correctly. You don't have any broken valves or running valves, stuck valves, such as that. And then install pressure regulators wherever applicable on that. So these are the things that customers can also do to report water waste. Any of these that are listed here: excessive irrigation runoff, broken sprinkler heads, washing down hardscapes, washing a vehicle without a shutoff nozzle. I know some of this is a little repetitive, but these are the things that customers can do to report on. And they can report using our website here, cvwd.org/water waste, and that'll take you to our water waste report form, our report water waste form, and you can submit your water waste report that way. Please do, or you can also call in and report water waste at the number there, 1-888-398-5008. And when you do report water waste, let's try to be a little bit more detailed in your water waste. That helps our personnel locate and identify the water waste a lot better and a lot more effectively. We can get out there and address the situation as needed. So the more information, the better. Location. If there's photos, you can attach a photo to that water waste report. So a lot of those things help us in our efforts to address the situation. So please be as detailed as possible when reporting your water waste. Let's see. So that leads me to this. When in drought, conserve it out. And that's what I have for you in this presentation. And I'll open it up for any discussions or questions from the audience at this point.
Hi, Jason. We do have one question. They say, my gardener always wants to set my water to go on in the afternoon. Are there rules on the time of day that you can water, and is it efficient to be watering during the day?
So a lot of landscapers do this, especially in the summertime. They want to water in midday because they feel like it's hot, and they feel like the plants need it. It's not so much. It's not an efficient way of doing it, in a sense, because there's no restrictions on it or anything. We just recommend that you not do that. We don't encourage it. So what we encourage is, once in the morning, once in the evening. And the reason being is your plants will get a good drink in the morning, and it'll last them to that evening drink. And then they'll get that drink to last them through the night and get back to that morning drink. And what I mean by drink is what the plants are getting the water from the soil. So as long as the soil is moist, then the plants are going to utilize that water. When they water or irrigate midday, typically in the summertime here in the valley, that water is going to evaporate before it can percolate into the plant root zone where the plant can actually utilize that water. So that's our ideal times of day to irrigate is in the morning before it gets hot and in the evening. So I hope that answers your question there.
Okay, thank you. We have a few more. How does one report a water use issue if it's inside a gated community?
Inside a gated community. So if, like, say I'm assuming the waterways issue is inside a gated community and you're maybe passing by and you've seen it come out the community gates, I would go through the waterways farm, type in all the information that you can, take pictures of that waterways coming down or that excessive runoff coming out of the gates, and put that in our waterways farm. If it's a gated community, most likely we'll be able to access the community in that sense. So if the question is, it's in a gated community, I'm not sure if the water district can get in, we'll be able to get into the gated communities. We do have access, and we have cooperation with all the HOAs, and we have access to all of those, the communities that we serve. So yeah, you can definitely submit any water waste reports via our website or calling it in.
And they have to put the time of day, that's the biggest important
Yes.
thing, so that
As detailed
we can
information
be
as
there
can.
so we can see it ourselves.
Yes, that also helps. Again, thank you, Stephanie. Being as detailed as possible is the way to go. The more detailed, the better. And time of day, location, pictures help a lot. Anything that we can use to better address the situation and be there when it's actually happening, so that way we know and we can address it with the owner, the HOA or the property owner.
I also saw that Eric Seja had his hand raised, so we can try to maybe unmute and have you ask your question live, or you can type it in the chat box if you still have a question. I see the hand was lowered, though. Oh, I see it here. I think it's kind of the same question that was asked before. Will we be able to get into the gated communities? The ones with golf courses and large open spaces should be monitored.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we'll be able to get into those. When it comes to, any that go ahead and put the report in, and we'll address it as appropriately as we can, and as quickly as we can as well. But yeah, we can get into gated communities and places that you mentioned like that.
Well, it looks like that's it for our questions, and I want to thank everybody for joining us today, and especially thank Jason for his presentation. I hope that you got a lot out of this, at least at how our programs work and what CVWD is doing to ensure current and future needs for our community and water sources. We are very proud to have decades of water management under our belt, and we continue to participate in lots of water management planning, just like Jason had in his presentation with water demand projections, climate change forecasting, water shortage contingency planning. And, you know, the biggest thing that we can do is, as a community and as customers, is to use water efficiently. So I really hope that we were able to give you enough information for that, but also you can visit us at cvwd.org/rebates if you're interested in rebates. You can visit our drought page, which is cvwd.org/drought, and we have up-to-date information about local drought information, because the state is very large and very different throughout the state. So each water agency, each area is very different. And we do want to assure you that we do have sufficient water sources to meet local demand here, but we still encourage using water efficiently because we are in a dry, arid desert, and conservation is a way of life for us. We do have another webinar coming up on December 8th, and it is creating gifts with succulents. It's a workshop on creating some fun gifts that you can give for the holidays or for any occasion, and that is on December 8th, and you can visit our website to register for that. Thanks again for joining us.